let's see. I should have prepared this a little bit better. Let's see. They have amazing stuff though, for real. Wait. So yeah, I'm doing a hair washing tutorial. I'm going to show you guys exactly how I wash my hair and share all my tips with you because I have really long hair. It's like all natural, super long. So I wanted to share with you guys the best way so that it doesn't break. Thank you. Thank you, Shardara94. So I'm really excited to share this with you because I think it's super important, and not only just to like know like the basic kind of tips, but to actually see someone with really long hair or someone who's trying to grow their hair, like how they wash their hair, because I really like to see exactly how they move their hands and stuff. It's super important and it's not talked about very often, but it like really changes everything. So I just think you guys need to know this. Thank you guys so much for tapping the screen. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. I love you so much if you're tapping the screen. I really want to get this information out there so that like other girls can have healthy long hair, because seriously, it's so important and it's something that I never knew before and it's something that's never talked about. So it's something that you really need to see and actually see it happening to know exactly how it's done, and then you're going to see all the difference because your hair won't be breaking, because your hair breaks so much when you're washing it normally. So it's really important to see exactly how it's done. So yeah, it's important. But yeah, this brand, I'm in love with this brand. They're so amazing. So I'm not prepared very well for this live, but I'm going to find this information to tell you about this brand first, even though I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but I just love the brand, and I think I read their thing, about their story. Let's see. Briogeo. But thank you guys so much for staying here with me. It means the world to me. I love you guys. I just need you guys to know this. Like, there's so many girls who need to know this about how to grow their hair long. Basically this is just like a staple tip that's absolutely necessary for growing your hair that's never talked about. So I'm just so excited to share it with you, and I just wanted to show you and demonstrate exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, I'm really excited because I've learned some things that are super important throughout the whole time of washing my hair. Well, right now it looks a bit crazy, but that is why we have this extremely important tool, which is the detangler brush while you're washing your hair. It's really important, and there's a specific one that I love the most, which is this one, and I'll tell you what the brand is in just a moment. So, but I wanted to find this, first I just really wanted to find this information about this brand because I love this brand, and their products are just so good. Let me see if I can find it. Thank you guys so much for staying with me and for being in my live. This is only my third ever live on here on my beauty and fashion channel, so I'm really excited to share this with you. And yeah, I have some TikToks. I'm going to start posting more regularly now. Thank you so much. Yeah, I really like belly button piercings. It's the only thing that I have pierced, but I really like it. So one tip, by the way, you guys, since this is like a beauty and fashion tip page and everything, I wanted to give you guys a tip. Like, if you're a girl and if you're thinking about getting your belly button piercing, there's something super important that I really want to share with you that unfortunately I didn't know about when I got my piercing done. Yeah, I have my ears pierced, but I just think you guys need to know this too about belly button piercings. So it's kind of off topic because of the hair live, but I still want to talk about anything beauty related that I can think of that comes up in our live. So yeah, so I love belly button piercings. I think they're so cute, and I just love the way they look personally. But if you're a girl and if you're thinking about getting a belly button piercing, there's something that is not talked about that you wouldn't necessarily think of, that you're thinking like, okay, I'm gonna go to a good piercer, which is absolutely important to go to a really good, experienced person who pierces belly button. That is super important. But it's also important to kind of like do your research, which I didn't do. I just thought that like if I went to a good piercer that it would be enough, and that I would be able to get like a perfect piercing based on the piercer. He'd know like what he was doing and stuff. And I went to one that was like apparently like a good one in my area. But something that you're not going to expect that is super important is to make sure that the depth of your belly button piercing is placed properly. So it just needs to be placed properly in general. Like, it's really important, you guys. So yeah, anyways, mine is I'm gonna show you guys. I don't know if you can really see, but mine is super low. Like, mine is, you can see the little gem here is like super close to I mean, it could be worse, but it should be like, I had to get an extra short belly button bar. Like, the bar on mine is extra short. It's like really short. It's not like a normal classic one. I can't use the classic ones because my piercing is messed up because it's so short, and I didn't know this before I got pierced. So, yeah, it's really important to kind of be in control and know what's going on when you're getting pierced, and not just close your eyes and let the piercer do it, because once it's pierced, and you can't really do anything about it. So, if you want your piercing to be nicer than mine, and if you want yours to fit in all of the classic belly button bars, I have to tell you, it was so hard. It was so difficult for me to find this dangly belly button jewelry that had a long enough bar. So yeah, that had like the right length bar. I mean, like a short enough bar actually. So it was super difficult to find this, and to have it be like in an actual like real metal. Like, this one's real sterling silver. But it's really hard to find dangly ones, and it's really hard to find one if you're not careful. So it's really important that you don't get your piercing done too shallow like mine. And it's also important that you don't get it done too deep. You don't want it to be like way up here either. I mean, you know, it happens, and I love mine. It's just the way it is. But I definitely would have preferred it very much if the bar is like, the little gem was like high, the hole on my piercing was just a little bit higher up, so that it would have been like the standard size and like more normal and stuff. But mine is really, it's really quite thin. So it sucks because if I have like a heavier jewelry, it can kind of droop sometimes. So yeah, you definitely don't want that. So if you're a girl, and if you're thinking, or if you know somebody who's thinking about getting her belly button pierced, make sure that you just warn them that, like, it is really important to make sure that it's that the little gem at the top is like the perfect height above your arch of your belly button. You don't want it to be too high up so that your like belly button thing, you really want the classic one, like the classic bar to fit in the classic length bar to fit perfectly in your thing, so that there's just a tiny bit of the bar showing at the bottom. You don't want it to be like totally like swallowed up by the thing necessarily, but like, it kind of depends on your opinion too, like what you think looks nice. Like, go online and look at different piercings and how they are in relation to the arch of your navel. And yeah, that's just something really important that I would have loved to have known when I was getting my piercing done. So just make sure that it is not, that the little hole that they make is not too shallow like mine, that it's not too like close to the arch, and also that it's not too much away from the arch, because you don't want to have like a big like this big thing here necessarily either, unless you really like that look, but or you could maybe really like this look, I don't know, but but yeah, that's just something to consider, is to not just close your eyes and let the piercer do it. Like, make sure you're with a really good piercer that you trust and that can kind of like, you can tell your concerns to and tell that you've learned this information to. And yeah, just kind of maybe even like buy a classic navel piercing that is like the classic length. The classic length is the best because it's like the most standard and it's the most perfect one. The classic length. So maybe like buy your classic length navel jewelry in advance and just bring it to the piercer and show the picture of the depth of piercing that you want. You know, I think it's best when the classic one fits perfectly with just a tiny bit of the bar showing. Not when it's totally swallowed up by the bar, but just a teeny tiny bit showing. Mine, it'll be like half the bar showing if I use the classic one. So yeah, that's just something to consider. It's really hard to find shorter bars. And like I was able to kind of make it work, but I definitely regret that I didn't know this information before, and that I just, oh, and another thing is when you're getting pierced, I feel like my piercer, he kind of knew what he was doing, because he drew a little line on my belly button before piercing it, and he asked me if it was good, and it looked good. But I made the mistake of, I was lying down on a table, okay, I was lying down on a table when I got it done. So I was like stretching my belly like this, and when you're stretching your belly like this, it looks like the hole is going to be higher up. But then when you're like relaxing your belly, you know, not totally relaxing, but just relaxing it at how it's normal, the hole is going to come down. So also, I think it's best to maybe stand. At least don't like stretch your stomach and like try to look skinny when you're being pierced. I was actually with when I got my first piercing, I was actually with my ex-boyfriend, my first boyfriend ever. And he was there watching, so like I wanted to look skinny and like I have like flat abs and stuff. So I was like stretching my belly a lot and like sucking in. So yeah, I was like stretching my belly and like sucking in so that I would like look like I had like nice abs and stuff. But don't do that. Don't think about that. It's probably best, like, even if you can be alone with your piercer, able to do it. But, you know, if you want your boyfriend there or something while you're doing it, or your mom, it's a good thing. But you just need to be totally comfortable and not try to, like, look good while you're being pierced. But, like, have, like, a natural belly and make sure you're not stretching it. And then you just know exactly where you want the hole to be, because that hole is permanent and, you know, you want it to be done, right? So I hope you heard that if you are thinking about getting a belly piercing, because it's super important. So yeah, that's super off topic, but since somebody just asked me about my piercing, I just thought that I would share that information because it's super important, so that you'll be happy with your piercing forever. Yeah, and now on to the hair care. So back to the really important hair technique. So yeah, back to the really important hair washing technique and the information I wanted to share you about that. So it's kind of good that my hair is super tangled right now, because then I can really demonstrate you like a realistic, when I wake up in the morning, my hair is super tangled. So the first thing that you're going to need to have, so that your hair, basically the thing to remember about your hair is that it's super important to not break the hair, okay? You don't want to break the hair under any circumstances. And my sister and I, we always used to make this mistake, like just like taking our brush, like a regular brush, like is the worst. This is a detangler brush, and this is essential. Like, it's really important. These bristles are really thin and really flexible, so they're like more flexible than your hair. So they're not gonna like rip through and get stuck. It's gonna like, you know, it's gonna detangle your hair. So, so yeah. That is super important to get a detangling brush. And the one that's the most popular one, the classic one, is called the wet brush, because it's meant to brush your hair when it's wet and like to detangle it. But this is the only brush that I use when it's wet or dry. It's a detangler brush. And the wet brush looks exactly like this, but I don't know, every time that I've had a wet brush personally, like I noticed the bristles just like fell out really easily. By 1 year, the brush was like half of the bristles were gone practically. And well, I'm impressed by this random brand that I found at Winners. The brand, it has like, I was making some, what was I making? Cupcakes, I think. I was making like cookies or something, and I was like in the kitchen, and I had my brush in the kitchen, which shouldn't be there. But I spilled some vanilla extract on the counter, and it got on my brush. So this is a stain of vanilla extract. But anyway, yeah. So the brand is called Swissco for the one that I found is amazing, and the color is super cute of this one. So yeah, it's just SW. Okay, it's looking backwards on here, but it's spelled. Oh, thank you so much, Wilson. So it's spelled SWISSCO. So the brand is Swissco. It's the best detangler brush I've ever used, and it's amazing. So Swissco, SWISSCO. So just like, yeah, anyway, you got it. So now that we have discussed the importance of a detangler brush, there's a wet brush, there's a Swissco brush, which I love. I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do it. So the first important thing is to actually brush and detangle your hair the same way I'm going to do it now, when it's dry, before you get it wet. But I just got mine wet because I started this tutorial, and then we got distracted with the belly button tip and everything, the belly button piercing tip. But I'm going to show you guys how to properly detangle your hair. So yeah, the way to do it is, well, the way I love to do it is I take my hair. So I used to actually, like take it, and I used to like, okay, it's stuck here, so I'm going to be really careful. We don't want to pull that apart, so that's why I flipped it. But anyway, I used to take my hair and put it like two sides like this, but I've learned that it's not necessarily that good to like always be parting your hair into half like this, because then you kind of get this part. I've done it. Okay, so I only recently, like since the last like